The glove box popped open with a soft click, like it had been waiting. I didn't mean to open it. I was just reaching for the registration papers. Instead, I found the envelope. Red wax seal. No name. No stamp. Just sitting there on top of a faded parking ticket from 2 winters ago. I should have left it. Sold the car. Kept my sanity. But something about that envelope, it felt alive in my hand. Like it was watching me. The seal broke too easily. Inside, I found a note in her handwriting. If you're reading this, I'm dead. And you need to know the truth. No greeting. No, I love you. Just that. And a hotel keycard. I stared at it for what felt like an hour, trying to decide whether I was having a breakdown or... No. I knew that key. I'd seen it before. Years ago, when she claimed she was going to that weekend wellness retreat with her sister. Except her sister called me that Saturday night, asking where Miriam was. I remember lying. I told her she was in the bathroom. Then I sat on the kitchen floor until 3 a.m., pretending the silence wasn't screaming at me. Back then, I believed her. Because believing her was easier than imagining what else might be true. But this wasn't imaginary. This was a breadcrumb. And I'd already picked it up. So I followed it. The car buyer messaged me again. I ignored it. I turned off my phone. Got in the Civic. Drove. Straight to that hotel. Room 218. Just like the keycard said. And that's where everything started to come undone. Because when I opened that door, I didn't just find a room. I found him. The door wasn't locked. That should have been my first warning. It opened with a gentle push, and for a second I thought I had the wrong place. The room looked untouched. Bedmate. Curtains drawn halfway. One chair pulled out from the desk. Not a single light on. But the smell hit me instantly. Not perfume. Not cleaning spray. Cologne. And not mine. I stepped inside like I was trespassing in my own nightmare. The door clicked shut behind me, and suddenly the silence felt alert. Watching. Waiting for me to put the next piece together. I was still holding the envelope like a weapon, as if the paper in my hand could protect me from whatever I was about to find. Then I saw the bag. Black. Zipper half open. A razor, travel-sized deodorant. White Oxford shirt folded too neatly. On the nightstand next to it, a single Polaroid photo. Her. Sitting on that same bed. Bare shoulders. Eyes half closed like someone had just whispered her name. My throat tightened. I looked away, but it didn't help. Because I knew that look. I hadn't seen it on her face in years. Then, from the bathroom. A cough. I froze. Someone was in there. Right now? Not a memory. Not a ghost. Flesh and blood. I should have left. I know that now. Any sane person would have turned and walked out. But I stood there like a damn statue. And then the door creaked open. He stepped out barefoot, wiping his face with a towel. Late 40s, maybe. Dark hair going gray at the temples. Fit. The kind of guy you see jogging at sunrise, not ordering pizza at midnight like I used to with Miriam. He didn't look surprised. Just disappointed. Took you long enough, he said. That voice. Calm. Almost rehearsed. I couldn't speak. My mind was a mess of static. He looked at me like we were old friends who'd just bumped into each other at a funeral. Figured you'd come eventually, he added. She said you'd find it. I must have said something. I don't remember what. My ears were ringing. My fingers went numb. My knees buckled and I sat down on the edge of the bed, the same spot she sat in that photo, like my body betrayed me. He walked over, slow and careful, like I was a wounded animal. Look, he said, I'm not here to make anything worse. Then he handed me something. Another envelope, thicker than the last. And inside it was a truth I never asked for. A truth that would drag me through the next 7 layers of hell. And still, I hadn't even scratched the surface. I didn't open it right away. That second envelope sat in my lap like it might detonate if I moved too fast. The man didn't say another word. He just nodded like he'd done his part and walked past me, out the door, without closing it. No name. No explanation. No apology. Just gone. It was like he'd only ever existed to deliver that one package of pain, and once it changed hands, he disappeared into the night like some reverse mailman from hell. I stared at the envelope. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. My mouth was so dry I could barely swallow. I remember thinking, if this kills me, at least I'll die knowing. That's how far gone I already was. When I finally opened it, the first thing I saw wasn't a letter. It was a contract. A real, typed up, notarized legal document. At the top, confidential non-disclosure and financial agreement. Underneath, my wife's name. And his. That man. The one I just saw step out of the bathroom like it was his room. His history. My name wasn't on it. Not even once. The date? Signed nearly 4 years ago. I flipped to the last page. Miriam's signature was there. So was his. And right under that, the sum of $75,000. Payment completed. One line below, in neat italic font. In exchange for termination of the relationship, severance of contact, and permanent discretion regarding events between 2014 to 2020. My heart dropped. What kind of relationship needed that kind of ending? The answer came in the rest of the envelope. Printed emails. Screenshots. 2 plane tickets to Barcelona I'd never heard about. Hotel receipts. Restaurant bookings. Spa visits. Photos. So many photos. Some of them dated during times she told me she was visiting her sick aunt in Phoenix. That aunt died in 2013. One picture showed the two of them at a vineyard in Spain. She wore the silver necklace I bought her for Christmas, the one she said she lost at a yoga retreat. She hadn't lost it. She just wore it with him. Then came the letter. Handwritten again. This time from him. Curtis, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even expect understanding. I'm not proud of what happened. But I need you to know it ended. Because of you. She chose you. She always came back to you. And in the end, she died still loving you. You just didn't know the whole story. She wanted to tell you. But she thought it would ruin everything. So she asked me to keep it buried. And I did. Until now. Don't let this make you hate her. She was many things. But she wasn't cruel. I read the last line over and over again. She wasn't cruel. I don't know why that one hurt the most. Because maybe she was. Maybe love isn't the opposite of cruelty. Maybe love is cruelty when it wears a mask long enough. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, on that unfamiliar bed, holding the weight of 6 years of betrayal in my lap like it was a family photo album. The worst part? I missed her. Even now. Even knowing what I knew. That night, I didn't go home. I drove until the sun came up. And I still hadn't figured out who the hell I'd really married. I didn't go home. I don't even remember where I parked. Some empty lot behind a shuttered diner. I watched the sun rise through a bug-smeared windshield and tried to convince myself I hadn't just wandered into a version of my life I never signed up for. The envelope, the photos, the man, it all felt staged. Like I'd been handed a script to a play I didn't audition for. But the worst part wasn't the betrayal. It wasn't even the lies. It was the fact that I had nothing left to ask her. No way to scream at her, to beg her to explain. No way to throw something or cry into her shoulder until one of us gave in. That option was gone. Buried in a cemetery where people still bring her flowers and say things like, she was so full of light. I started digging. That morning, before I even had coffee, I booted up my old laptop and typed in her email password. I don't know why. Maybe I just wanted proof that all this had been real. Maybe I hoped I'd find something that made it all make sense. The password still worked. She never changed it. Same one she used since college. The name of our first cat. That little idiot died chasing a laser pointer into the fireplace, and somehow, in this moment, even he felt more trustworthy than she did. There were thousands of emails. Most were junk, promotions, old newsletters. But I searched for his name, the man from the hotel, Brandon Foster, and there they were, dozens of messages. Some short, some pages long, some with photos I wish I could unsee. One, from 3 years ago, was just a subject line. I need to feel like myself again. No body text. No signature. No reply. But the most recent one? Dated 2 weeks before her accident? That one broke me. Subject, what if he finds out? Body, I don't know how to keep pretending. He looks at me like I'm still this perfect little glass figure on a shelf. But I'm chipped. I'm cracked, B. I know you said he wouldn't handle the truth, but maybe he deserves it. Maybe I deserve to stop living like I'm two different people. If I don't send this, well, then I guess I'm still afraid. But if something happens to me, you know what to do. And that was it. It wasn't sent. Just saved in drafts. She'd written it and walked away. I sat there, just staring at the screen, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut by a ghost. She was planning to tell me. After all of it. After years of lies, of burying parts of herself and building this polished version of our marriage, she was about to light it all on fire. Why didn't she? Why didn't she hit send? Was it fear? Or was she waiting for the right moment? And then, just like that, I thought of something I hadn't considered before. Something small. Something cruel. The accident. The way it happened. A solo crash. No other cars involved. No brake marks. Just one blown tire. One curve. One tree. And a woman who never, ever drove over the speed limit. Was it an accident? Or was it the only way out she could live with? Because if it wasn't, if she made that choice, then I wasn't just mourning my wife. I was mourning someone I never actually knew. I kept telling myself I wasn't going crazy, that I was just a man digging through a dead woman's life, trying to find closure. But that's not what it was anymore. It stopped being about closure the second I opened that glove box. Now it was something else entirely. Obsession. I barely slept. I kept hearing that man's voice echoing in my head. She chose you. She always came back to you. Like that was supposed to make me feel better. Like I was some prize for second place. The next morning, I called her sister. I hadn't talked to Lacey since the funeral. We cried together that day. She said Miriam was her best friend, her soul twin. But now I couldn't stop thinking about that email. The one where Miriam said she wasn't going to keep pretending, that she might tell me everything. And yet, Lacey never mentioned anything. Never dropped a single hint that my wife was unraveling. I figured she deserved a chance to explain. Maybe even help me piece things together. So I called. She picked up after the third ring. Her voice cracked when she heard mine. Curtis. Hey, Lace, I said, trying to sound calm. I have a weird question. Silence. Do you know a guy named Brandon Foster? The line went completely quiet. Then she sighed. Not confused. Not surprised. Just tired. I was wondering when you'd find out. I nearly dropped the phone. So you knew? I asked. This whole time. Not the whole time, she whispered. But yes. Eventually. I stood there in the kitchen, staring at the wall like it might open up and give me answers. Why didn't you say anything? She made me promise, Curtis. You have to understand. She wasn't proud of what she did. She was ashamed. She thought she could fix things. She really did love you. I laughed. I couldn't help it. That weird, bitter kind of laugh that tastes like metal in your mouth. Love me. I snapped. She kept an entire second life hidden from me. For years. Lacey didn't argue. She just said one thing that made my blood run cold. She was scared you'd leave if you knew. That was when it hit me. The quiet truth behind the whole performance. Miriam didn't stay with me because I was some great husband. She stayed because she didn't know how to start over. She stayed because it was easier to keep lying. Did she tell you about the envelope? I asked. The hotel guy? The NDA? Any of that? No, she said quickly. No, I didn't know about that. But you knew about him. I met him once. At a cafe. She said he was a mistake she was managing. I believed her. A mistake she was managing. Like he was a dent in the car or an overdraft fee. I wanted to scream. I wanted to smash something. But I just stood there, gripping the counter, realizing the people I thought were my family had been playing a script I wasn't allowed to read. And then, Lacey said something else. Something that changed everything. There's something you should probably know, she said softly. Before the accident, she was planning a trip. A trip? She booked a flight. Under a different name. My stomach flipped. Where? Lacey hesitated. To New York. One way. That made no sense. Miriam hated New York. Said it was too loud. Too fast. She used to say the skyline made her feel like she was drowning in metal. She wasn't going there to sightsee, Curtis. Then why? She was going to meet someone. Someone from her past. But it wasn't Brandon. I blinked. Wait, what? Then who? But Lacey wouldn't say. Her voice cracked again. Look, I've said too much already. Just be careful where you keep digging. Some things don't need to be found. And then she hung up. No goodbye. No answers. Just another wall of silence. That night, I opened her laptop. I wasn't even sure why. I thought maybe I'd find her search history, a hidden message, anything. What I found instead was a hidden folder on her desktop. And inside it was a video file, titled Only with a Date. The day before she died. It took me 3 tries to press play. My hand hovered over the mouse like I was about to launch a missile, not watch a video. My breathing felt uneven, my chest tight. But I couldn't walk away. Not now. Not after everything I'd seen, read, and heard. If she left behind a message, especially one dated the day before she died, I had to see it. The screen flickered for a second, and then, there she was. Miriam, hair tied back in a loose bun. No makeup. Sitting on the edge of our guest bed, wearing the hoodie I bought her the year I forgot our anniversary. Her face looked pale, tired. But her eyes, God, her eyes, they were swollen like she'd been crying for hours. She sat in silence for a while, just breathing, like she wasn't sure how to start. Then she looked straight at the camera, and everything around me disappeared. "I don't know if you'll ever see this, Curtis," she said. Her voice was shaky, like she was forcing herself to speak. "I don't even know if I'll have the guts to hit upload. But I needed to say this. Somewhere." I couldn't move. Couldn't even blink. "I never meant to hurt you. I know that sounds hollow now, but it's the truth. I got lost in something that started as a distraction, a small rebellion. And before I knew it, it became this whole second life I didn't know how to kill without killing something in me too." She exhaled sharply, shaking her head. "You didn't do anything wrong. That's the part that haunts me. You were steady, kind. You gave me a home and then filled it with safety. But safety can feel like a prison when you already feel broken. I needed to feel wanted, desired, new. And Brandon made me feel like I still had sharp edges, that I wasn't fading, even if it was all fake." She swallowed hard and looked down for a moment, then back up. "I ended it. You need to know that. It was over years ago, but I didn't tell you because I was selfish. Because I didn't want to see that look on your face, the one I'm imagining right now." My heart was pounding like a war drum. I leaned closer to the screen. I thought if I buried it deep enough, I could start over. With you. Be the version of myself that deserved you. But guilt doesn't rot in the dark. It grows teeth. And now, it's eating everything. Then her expression shifted. Just slightly. "And there's more. Something I never thought I'd have to tell you. Something I swore I'd take to my grave." She hesitated. Her lips trembled. "Remember the business trip to Austin?" she asked. "The one I said got extended last minute? It wasn't a trip. I lied. I went to see someone. But it wasn't Brandon." She paused. "It was someone from before. Before you." My stomach dropped. What the hell was she talking about? "I told you I had a miscarriage in college," she continued, barely above a whisper. "That it just happened. But that's not the whole story." She looked down again, then back up, eyes glassy. "I gave birth. A boy. I was 19. I didn't tell anyone, not even Lacey. I gave him up. Closed adoption. I never looked back. Until last month." My blood ran cold. "I found him," she said. "His name's Oliver now. He lives in New York. And he reached out. Said he found me through some DNA service. He just wanted to meet. Just once. I didn't tell you because, how do you explain hiding a whole person from someone who married you?" She let out a small, joyless laugh. "I booked the flight. I was going to go see him. And then I was going to come clean about everything. The affair, the adoption, the lies. I thought maybe if I gave you the full truth all at once, you'd hate me quickly and cleanly. Rip the bandage. Maybe you'd yell. Maybe you'd leave. But at least you'd know who you married." I was shaking now. I couldn't stop. My palms were ice. I kept thinking about that unsent draft in her email. The one where she said she couldn't pretend anymore. She hadn't sent it. She made the video instead. And she never uploaded this either. She wasn't ready. The screen glitched for a moment. Then she spoke again, one last time. "If I don't come back from that trip, Curtis, please know, it was never about not loving you. I just didn't love the version of me I'd become." She reached forward, toward the camera, and whispered something I'll never forget. "I hope one day you forgive me, even if I don't deserve it." Then the screen went black. The silence afterward was louder than anything I'd ever heard. She had a son. She lied about it our entire marriage. She was going to New York to see him. And the next day, she died. Except there was one problem. According to her airline records, which I now felt sick for checking, she never boarded that flight. I didn't sleep. Again. By the time the sun came up, I was still sitting at the kitchen table with Miriam's laptop open in front of me, fingers locked together like I was in prayer. The video had rewired something in my brain. I kept replaying her voice. That final whisper. "Even if I don't deserve it." It haunted me more than any betrayal. But there was something else, something that hadn't made sense since the beginning. And it had nothing to do with love or lies. It was logistics. If she booked a flight to New York, if she packed a bag, planned to meet her son, and possibly tell me the truth, why wasn't her luggage ever found? There was no suitcase in the Civic when police recovered it. No duffel bag. No carry-on. Just her phone, shattered near the glove box, and the water bottle she always brought on long drives. But nothing else. She couldn't have flown with just her purse, not Miriam. She was meticulous when she traveled. She once packed 3 outfits for a one-night hotel stay because she wasn't sure what kind of mood the room would give off. So where the hell was her bag? I pulled up the police report again. I hadn't looked at it since the week after her death. It was all very clean, weather conditions clear, tire damage consistent with sharp object puncture, no other vehicles involved. She veered off the road and hit a tree. End of story. Except one line caught my eye. Vehicle recovered in neutral, engine off, driver deceased upon impact. Front passenger door ajar at scene. Ajar? I stared at that line for several minutes. Miriam never left doors open. She used to nag me for not clicking the lock until we heard the beep. If the passenger door was ajar at the scene, that meant it was opened before the crash. Or someone opened it after. I tried not to go there. I really did. But my brain was sprinting, chasing shadows. If she was on her way to the airport, where was the bag? If she never boarded the flight, why had the airline scanned her check-in barcode? And why had her life insurance paperwork been updated exactly 6 days before she died? Updated by her. I called the insurance company. Told them I needed to confirm the latest beneficiary update. The guy on the phone asked for verification. I gave it to him, still in autopilot mode. And then he said it. Yes, the policy was updated online by the account holder last Tuesday. Full payout redirected from spouse to Oliver Monroe. I went cold. Oliver. The son she gave up. The son I'd never even known existed until 24 hours ago. Was there a note attached to the change? I asked, trying not to let my voice shake. There was a pause. Clicking. Then, yes. A short message. I can read it if you'd like. I said yes. Of course I said yes. He read it. If anything happens to me, I want this to go to the one person I never got a chance to protect. I owe him that. I hung up without saying goodbye. I couldn't feel my legs. Couldn't breathe properly. I sat on the couch, staring out the window like I expected her to walk up the driveway, hair messy from wind, saying it was all a test. A joke. A bad dream I'd wake up from. But instead, something else happened. My doorbell rang. Twice. Sharp. Intentional. I opened it slowly. A boy. No, not a boy. A man in his late teens stood on my porch, hands in his jacket pockets. Eyes familiar. Chin slightly crooked like hers. A scar on his eyebrow. I'm sorry, he said. I think you might be my mom's husband. I didn't answer. I couldn't. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. She told me to wait a week after the funeral before reaching out. He said, voice quiet. Said if I heard nothing by then, to give you this. I took the paper, hands trembling. She said if I ever wanted to know the truth, you'd show me. Then he left. No name. No questions. No tears. Just like her. I unfolded the paper. It was a receipt. For a motel room. Booked in my name. The night she died. I didn't go to the motel right away. The receipt in my hand was dated the night Miriam died. Room 109. Booked under my name, but I'd never seen it before. I stared at it for hours, turning it over like the paper might confess something if I held it long enough. Why would she book a room under my name? What was she doing there? And why hadn't she made it? I called the motel. Told them I lost something in the room a while back. The manager was an old guy who didn't ask questions. He said 109 hadn't been used since that week. Said he'd be around if I wanted to check it out. That was enough. I drove there before the sun came up. It was one of those sad little places just off the interstate. Faded blue doors, chipped railings, a broken soda machine humming outside the office. Room 109 was at the corner. Tucked away. Hidden. The door opened easily. It smelled like dust and something older. The curtains were still half closed. The bed was made, but only halfway, like someone left in a hurry. The lamp was on. The bathroom light flickered weakly. There was a bag on the floor by the bed. Her bag. I knelt down slowly. My fingers hovered over the zipper. Inside, there were two things. The first was an envelope with my name on it. The second was a small wooden box. No lock. No hinges. Just a lid you lifted off. I opened the envelope first. Her handwriting again. Slower this time. Softer. Curtis, if you're reading this, then everything happened the way I feared it might. I'm sorry. I don't know how to explain everything, but I'll try. I was going to tell you everything that night. About Oliver. About Brandon. About all of it. I thought I could look you in the eyes and own it. But when I got to this room, I panicked. Not because I was scared of you, but because I still loved you. And I realized I couldn't lose both of you. I drove to clear my head. I didn't mean to take the back roads. I didn't mean to cry so hard I couldn't see the turn. It wasn't a choice. It was an accident. But if I don't make it back, I want you to know something true. Something clean. You were never plan B. You were always the life I wanted. I just didn't know how to hold on to it and forgive myself for the things I'd buried. I hope one day you let me go without hate. And I hope you meet Oliver. He's more like you than me. That might be my only redemption. I don't know how long I sat there. Could have been minutes. Could have been hours. I finally opened the wooden box. Inside were little pieces of our life together. My old wristwatch I thought I lost, a photo of us at that terrible cabin we hated, a napkin from our first date with a lipstick mark still on it. And one more thing, a flash drive. When I got home, I plugged it in. It was full of voice memos. Her voice. Soft, honest, unfiltered, talking about books we loved, things she regretted, questions she never asked me, but always meant to. It was like she'd recorded all the conversations we never got to have. I listened to one every day for a week. By the end, I wasn't angry anymore, just sad. But then, something shifted. Oliver started writing. Just simple stuff at first, checking in, asking questions about her. Then we started meeting. Coffee, then dinners. I showed him old photos. He told me about his adoptive family, about how he always wondered where the mole on his hand came from, about how weird it felt to see his birth mother smile in a photo and know he missed every moment of it. We cried once, but not together. I didn't tell him everything. Not yet. But one day maybe I will. And maybe we'll stand in front of her grave, side by side, not as people haunted by her choices, but as two men who both loved her in different ways. Not perfectly, but honestly. And that has to be enough. Because the truth is, healing doesn't always mean understanding everything. Sometimes, it's just surviving it with your heart intact. And mine, finally, feels like it's starting to beat again.